Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Kylie. I have a journal that I'm going to share with you today. It's one of my quilt covered wraparound journals. I have used vintage quilt and buttons on the spine, some of my favorite quilting pieces in this journal. I will just explain the wraparound part. So I've put, rather than attaching this front panel directly to the back of the journal, the back cover, I actually use a piece of additional quilt or fabric that's the same size as the spine, just to give it that sort of square shape. You can see that there's a bit of a square shape to the structure of the journal. So if you wanted to do something similar, even in like a light cardstock, I would suggest putting that extra piece on the other side. I've used some sari silk as a closure and a beautiful vintage mother of pearl button. I've just hand stitched that on, and that is actually holding the sari silk on as well. I have 3 quilted hearts that I've hand stitched to the cover of the journal, and it is lined in this really beautiful floral fabric. Just going to make sure that I'm in frame. I have a beautiful piece of trim here on an original book page. I've used some printed ephemera and also some original. I've just hand stitched some trim on there and used a brad to stick that down so it can be used as a journal card or to hide some journaling underneath. I've got lots of beautiful lace pockets with some vintage buttons sewn on. An original piece here from France. I think it doesn't have the year, but beautiful handwriting. Here I've just got a little tab at the top, so I've just used a doily snippet and I've sewn a button and put some vintage wallpaper on some original music page. I always forget to grab a little tag so I can show you the tuck spots. So a little tuck spot there. And this is an original piece of ephemera. I've just used a little clip on there and created a pocket on the other side, and I've just slipped in a journaling tag there. Some more ephemera and decorations. I've used quite a bit of vintage wallpaper. A little belly band. I've just sewn that on. I've sewn on a little snippet to the lace and I've wrapped it around the other side as well. Some avocado dyed paper in this journal. Another wallpaper pocket. And another snippet with a button sewn on. Some original ledger. Here I've just got a belly band, but I've just put it on the side of the page. It was originally meant to go this way, but I think the wallpaper, the orientation was meant to be that way. So this is how this sort of interesting tuck spot came about. And I've just put a little bit of trim at the bottom there for some texture. Here I've just folded over an original page from a embroidery journal and fussy cut one of my little printable kit pages, and that's a tuck spot as well. This is a beautiful original Belgian telegram, a bit more fussy cutting. Here I've got some avocado dyed sari trim with another button sewn on. Quite a bit of that through this journal. Here's another piece of printed ephemera from one of my kits, and I've just turned it into a little card and put some embellished ribbon down the bottom. Original piece of ephemera just tucked into a pocket there. I try not to overload this journal too much with ephemera. It's very difficult for me. There are a lot of tabs though. As I go back through, I see here I've just punched 2 holes and I've put some tulle through and I've tied a bow. So not everything needs to be sort of glued or sewn. A little sweet detail on the side there. So this is quite a large journal. It's 4 signatures. And usually when I do those bigger journals is over 90 pages. Here I've got an envelope that I've just stuck a little bit of antique lace onto, and I've tucked in a wallpaper tag, another tuck spot, and another one there. I love original wallpaper on old French documents. I just really love that combination. Here I have 2 tuck spots in the signature center, and I've just used stapler to staple trim on to the tuck before I've stuck it down, and this is an original document with beautiful calligraphy. Another little pocket. I try not to do too much sewing in this journal because it can interfere with writing on the other side of the page. I've just used some beautiful Swiss lace there and hand stitched it on at the top. I won't lift the journal because I will be out of frame and it will be all confusing. You'll just have to believe me. And last signature, so I've just stuck that onto some fabric, which I've also stuck onto the page. A little bit of washi tape at the top and another glass button on the side. Another journaling card. I've just put a little bit of snippet roll down the bottom and some wallpaper collaged on there. And that's a little tuck spot. Another document from 1944 from France. That's a legal document. And here I just have a doily that I've just stuck on as a little tuck spot maybe. And that goes through to the other side of the signature. I think that's a tuck spot as well, just wallpaper tuck spot. Here I've done a ruffle and I've hand stitched it, and I've just sort of, I've left it sort of quite messy, and I sort of like that look. Some collaging in the middle of the signature. Some pianola paper embossed and another wallpaper tag. A flip down, and they just held on with bits of washi tape. Some snippet down the side, I've just glued that on, and that's the other side of that doily. A little flip out, that's some printed ephemera, and I just back it with vintage school book paper, so it still sort of has that vintage feel. Here I've just stapled a little snippet of fabric onto a tea-stained luggage tag, and I've popped that in and just let the fabric sort of hang over the bottom of that tuck spot. And that's the end of the journal. So quite a big one. I do really love that side view, the bottom view and the top view of overstuffed journals, because the only view that I really see in my craft room, if I've got to be honest. It feels weird not to put too much in, although I'm very good at not having a gator mouth journal. I think that's when you go way too far. My trick is to put something very heavy on it when you've finished making it to mush it all down. That's my little trick. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.